at pagtuunan ng pansin higit sa lahat. Ano po ba ang tunay na kailangan ng bayan ngayon? At ipanalo natin ang taong bayan. Sa halip na pagtuunan natin ng pansin kung sinong mas magaling, kung sinong mas magandang lalaki o kung sino man ang mas mayabang. Hindi po ang mabaho at pekeng People's Politicians Initiative ang kailangan ni Juan de la Cruz. Sa tindi po ng kahirapan, sa tindi ng traffic, sa tindi ng gutom, hindi po PI ang kailangan. Ang kailangan po, Mr. President, ni Juan de la Cruz ay pambili ng gamot. Kailangan po niya ng pagkain sa hapagkainan nila. Ang kailangan po niya ay dekalidad na edukasyon. Ang kailangan po niya ay trabaho at magandang kita. Nawa, Ginoong Pangulo, matuldukan na ang mabaho at pekeng People's Initiative. Marami na pong nagawa ang inyong Senado, pero kulang pa. At alam ko po, bilang miyembro ng institusyong ito, na marami pa tayong magagawa para sa bayan. Kaya magtrabaho po tayo. Maraming salamat, Ginoong Pangulo. Mabuhay ang Senado ng Republika ng Pilipinas.
Maraming salamat, Senator Joel Villanueva. Senator Pia Cayetano is recognized. Our distinguished colleague from Panteros and Taguig.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, just a short intervention with the permission of our colleague, the Majority Floor Leader. Mr. President, I would just like to share my observations with everyone. Ever since the Senate, ever since it came to our attention, and I think we were not yet in session yet, we had met, we had discussed, and we had all, most of us at least, have expressed alarm. Nagpahayag tayo ng shock, ng kaba, ng takot na yung umiiral at yung umiiral na ang pagkakalat ng papirma ng PI parang panloloko sa tao. And si Majority Floor Leader Joel Villanueva was one of the most outspoken and vocal. Number one kasi magaling naman talaga ang communication skills ni Senator Joel. So ginagamit niya yung presence niya sa social media at masipag mo siya magpa-interview para ipaliwanag yung issue. Sa akin pong natatandaan, issue-based parate ang mga statements niya. Tinatanong niya na ano bang laman ng PI na pinipirmahan ng mga kababayan natin na kapos na nga sa pera, hindi mapakain ng mga anak nila. Tapos kung talagang gusto nilang pagbabago, okay. Pero ano ba yung pinipirmahan nila na PI na yan? So dahil sa mga ipinakita niya, pati tayong mga internal na discussion natin, kasama mga ibang kasamahan natin dito sa Senado, including Senator Amy, Senator Loren, marami ho sa atin. Nag-usap-usap tayo, yun nga, wala pa hong session noon. And nakita natin, nakakuha tayo ng mga kopya nung pinapapirmahan na People's Initiative, ni walang nakasulat po doon na provision ng batas na, kunyari, tungkol sa pagandahin ng livelihood o pamurahin ang gamot o yung bigas at yung mga magsasaka at mangingisda mabigyan ng suporta. Walang ganun eh. Tungkol ho yun dun sa voting jointly at voting separately. Ang effect po nung pinapapirmahan na voting jointly, mawawalan ng boses ang Senado na since time immemorial, bumoboto separately, pati nga ho para sa isang paggawa ng bagong kalye. So yun lang naman yung mga paliwanag ni Senator Joel. So nagtataka ako na ang response na nakuha niya, hindi lang pambabatikos, kasi kayang-kaya naman ang balat ni Senator Joel. Senator Amy, wag mo munang kausapin si Senator Joel kasi gusto ko naman, hindi kasi meron akong sasabihin tungkol sa balat niya eh. Kaya gusto ko full attention kayong lahat. Ang alam ko kasi yung balat ni Senator Joel, hindi malipis. Nagbabasketball po yun sa ilalim ng araw. Testigo po dyan si Senator Angara. I'm sure kahit kalmot-kalmutin ko yan, hindi malaparo sila na yung balat niyan. Makapal po yung balat, kalabaw po yan. Hindi ho yan maarte, hindi po yan maselan. Kung makipagbiruan nga yun dito, last ho yan na mapipikon. Hindi ko pa nga ho nakitang pikon yan eh. Pero, pag naman yung nagbigay siya ng pahayag o kaya yun nga, yung mga statement niya sa media kung saan inilalabas lang niya yung kailangan maintindihan ng tao na epekto ng pinipirmahan nila, na may ebidensya na may mga grupong nagpapapirma. Bakit hindi siya sagutin ng maayos tungkol doon? Kung yung mga taong natatamaan, bakit hindi sila magpaliwanag na hindi ganito ho yun, yung pinapapirma namin, ganito. Bakit ang balik, kung ano-anong kasinungalingan na iniimbento para, dungisan ang mabuting pangalan ni Senator Joel Villanueva? Hindi ho nagagawa ng basta-basta yun. Kahit anong pagdudungis na ginawa nyo. Ang taong may takot sa Diyos, may totoong takot sa Diyos, hindi ho yan kayang madungisan, hindi ho yan. Kumbaga, parang water and oil lang po yan. Paano ko ba sasabihin sa Tagalog yon? O kahit sa English?
Tubig at langis.
Tubig at langis, alam niyo na 'yon. Tubig at langis, hindi ho naghahalo 'yon. So, kung may ibabatikos na maayos sana, edi pakinggan din natin. Pero yung basta-basta lang may mga allegations na para lang siraan ang pagkatao ng isang kasamahan natin na buong buhay niya binigay niya sa taong bayan, sa Diyos. Hindi ho tama yun. At tayo din ho dito ay naninindigan. Nagbibigay ng suporta dahil ang kaibigan natin, ang gusto niyang gawin trabaho. Araw-araw po yan, mga kaibigan, mga kababayan. Araw-araw siyang nagme-message sa amin kung ano agenda. Tapos, maraming nagagalit sa kanya kasi, kunyari, gusto ko, una yung sa akin. Gusto din ni Senator Angara, una din yung sa kanya. Gusto din ni Senator Bato, una yung sa kanya. Gusto din ni kami-kami, ito talaga si Joel, inuna yung sa kanya, inuna yung sa kanya. So, si Senator Bato, yan ang pinakahuling uuwi kasi mag-giveaway yan. Mag-giveaway yan sa akin para mauwi ako yung anak ko. Maraming salamat. Siya lahat sumasalo noon, mga kababayan. He is a hardworking, honest senator. And he took time. He took time out of his job. Nagagalit nga siya na kailangan niyang tumayo dito para ipaliwanag yun dahil gusto niya trabaho agad. Gusto niya yung minimum wage bill ng ating Senate President na halos lahat na yata po kami co-sponsor. Yan ang pag-usapan. But we cannot also allow na basta-basta kung nagbabato, nagtatapon, nag-iimbento ng kasinungalingan ang mga ibang tao laban sa isang humble and simple public servant in the person of our brother, Senator Joel Villanueva, Mr. President. You don't have to react. I just wanted to make that statement, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. President. Let me just put on the records, Mr. President, my sincerest thanks and appreciation to our dear colleagues. Hindi ko nabanggit dun sa speech yung unang-unang nagtanggol ho sa akin, sila Senator Nancy at si Senator Chis para sagutin yung mga below the belt na paninira sa atin. Appreciate it, Mr. President. Thank you.
Yes. Also for the record, bilang Senate President ng institusyon na ito, I have to give my hats off at saludo po ako sa iyo, sa ating Majority Floor Leader, dahil sa sipag at tiyaga mo na harapin ang lahat ng mga problema ng ating mga kasamahan dito sa institusyon ng ito. Yung institusyon na to. Bilang Majority Floor Leader, nakaranas po ako 3 beses na maging Majority Floor Leader. Napakahirap ng trabaho yan. Balansehin ang iba't ibang interes ng ating mga senador, lalo na sa pagsulat ng mga batas. Kaya I know you're under extreme pressure. But on a personal note, alam na alam ko kayang-kaya mo yan. Galing nitong Majority Floor Leader, nag-aaral, yan ang pinakamaganda, at napaka-honest. Sa totoo lang, napaka-honest. Kaya nga si Bak yan di ba? Citizens Against Crime and Corruption, yan ang away niya. That is his advocacy, anti-corruption advocacy niya. He's anti-corruption fighter. Kaya nakakatawa ang mga paratang ng isang miyembro ng mababang kapulungan sa ating kasamahan. And I hope that our friends in the House are circumspect. Hindi magandang mga paratang na ganyan. It is not good for interparliamentary courtesy. Tayo dito po ay nagtatrabaho na po. Ang dami na po natin na ipasa at ngayong araw na ito, may ipapasa po tayo para sa masang Pilipino na sa tingin ko ang makakatulong sa pag-angat ng kahirapan, sa kahirapan ng ating mga kababayan. Yan ang dapat tutukan natin. Nabigyan natin ginhawa ang ating mga mahihirap nating kababayan through legislation, through legislative work, my dear colleagues. We never, as senators, overstep our bounds. We do not act like presidents here. We are all legislators. We do not overstep our powers. We do not overstep our bounds and boundaries. We just do our job well. That's why saludo ako sa iyo, Majority Leader Joel Villanueva. Mabuhay po kayo.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you very much.
Yes, Mr. President. Next, Senator Sani Angara is seeking the floor. I move that he be recognized.
Our distinguished colleague from the province of Aurora and the Republic of the Philippines, Senator Sani Angara is recognized.
Mr. President, I just want to, hindi ko rin papalipasin po yung itong moment na ito. I'd like to second what you said, what Senator Pia said, what our majority leader said, that the focus should be on the issue, the public issue, which is the Peking People's Initiative, Mr. President. And I admire our distinguished majority leader, our dear friend, like a brother to us, always working hard for our interests. In fact, he even singled out our pet advocacies. Ganun ho siya. He took the time out to single out. And he was a very vital part in passing many, if not all, of these measures, and we thank him for that. I know many times he feels underappreciated, but we truly appreciate the work he and his team. I think it's worth mentioning. It's not just one person. To pass a bill into law, it takes effort. All our staff, nagpupuyat po yan. And kumbaga, ang namumuno dyan is you, Mr. President, our Senate President Pro Tem, and of course, our Majority Leader, along with the chairpersons of the respective committees, Mr. President. Hindi biro yung proseso ng pagsasabatas ng isang panukala. It's no joke. That's why akala ng iba it's like just checking off a box, di ba? Hindi po ganun yun. Marami pong konsultasyon yun. Kaya natawa ako nung sabi, maglatag na daw tayo ng posisyon. Paano tayo maglalatag ng posisyon? Kakaumpisa lang ng mga hearing. Di ba? Parang pinakita na parang hindi kailangan yung hearing. Kumbaga seremonya na lang ho siya. No, it's an actual, honest to goodness, public consultation. Ginawa ba nila yon sa PI? Parang wala akong narinig na public consultation, Mr. President. Di ba? Parang ginawa nila nung nagse-celebrate tayo ng Christmas at New Year. Parang fast break, kumbaga. Di ba? Kung fast break lang, wala nang mas gagaling sa majority leader natin. Tsaka Senator Bongo, magaling din sa fast break.
Sa basketball.
Sa basketball. Hindi sa pagsasabatas. Sa pagsasabatas, wala dapat fast break dahil parang mababa ang tingin natin sa kababayan natin, Mr. President, kapag fast break natin yung pagsasabatas. At saka hindi pangkaraniwang batas ito, Mr. President. Saligang batas ang pinag-uusapan ito. I paraphrase our distinguished majority leader. It's the soul of our nation. Di ba? Hindi tayo pwede magpasa ng batas sa Kongreso na taliwas sa ating saligang batas. Ganun po kataas, ganun po kadakila ang ating saligang batas. So it's not something to trifle with. Hindi po biro, hindi po hindi seryosong usapan ito. Parang minamaliit nga natin yung taong bayan kung minamadali natin ito, Mr. President. At dinadaan natin sa salapi at sa iba-ibang pamamaraan na kumbinsihin po sila. So I'd like to pay tribute to our majority leader for fighting for our institution, but more than that, Mr. President, for fighting for the Filipino people, Mr. President. Saludo po ako sa kanya at sa inyo na nakipaglaban itong nakarang mga linggo, Mr. President. At also on the issue of interparliamentary courtesy, ang focus talaga yung PI, Mr. President. Kung may natamaan dyan, hindi namin sinasadya yan. And in fact, I think Senator Amy was clear. She respected interparliamentary courtesy by not summoning or inviting the members of the House. She did not even send subpoenas to the chiefs of staff of the congressmen because nga she was conscious about the possible violation of interparliamentary courtesy. Ang nagsabi na nakipag-meeting po sila, hindi mga senador, kundi yung mga testigo na nag-oath na sasabihin nila yung totoo. Kaya muntik na nga makalimutan ng isang resource person, di ba sabi niya, it skipped my mind. Pala nakipag-meeting po siya sa mga liderato ng Kamara de Representante. Kaya po, Mr. President, pag nag-i-invoke tayo ng parliamentary courtesy, alamin muna natin anong ibig sabihin nito. Di ba? Dapat alam natin anong ibig sabihin ng sinasabi natin o ini-invoke natin. So anyway, Mr. President, I did not want to let the moment pass and express support for our dear friend, the Majority Leader, Mr. President.
Maraming salamat, Senator Angara.
Mr. President, likewise, before I move to refer the privilege speech of our Majority Leader, of course, as his Deputy Majority Leader, I'd like to, I'm a witness on how hard our Majority Leader works. Mr. President, we are the first and the last to leave the floor. Even during the budget season, we are here from 9 a.m. sometimes to the wee hours in the morning. Kami-kami lang nandito, Mr. President. Ilan po lang tayo. Unlike the other house, there are a lot. Pero dito, ilan lang po tayo. And even, I would say that I'm very proud to be part of this leadership, to be a Deputy Majority Leader. No, none better than our Majority Leader. And even during our life moments, Mr. President, we are talking about how we can do something to improve the lives of our people. Yan po ang hindi alam natin mga kababayan. Hindi tayo nagtatanong kung ano magandang relo, ano magandang kotse, ano ang uso. Mr. President, even during our life moments, pinag-uusapan natin anong pwede natin gawin. Paano natin matutulungan ang ating Defense Department, that is sa West Philippine Sea, how we can improve agriculture. Kung ano-ano pinag-uusapan natin, siguro yan ang hindi alam ng ating makabayan na kahit po.
Pati paano natin ibaba yung sobrang grabing talamak na korupsyon sa ating bansa.
Opo.
Oh,
That's why, Mr. President, I'm proud to serve under your leadership, our Senate President, Mig Subiri, Majority Floor Leader, Joel Villanueva. I'm proud of this institution. Pero kailanman, Mr. President, I will not also look down on our counterparts because we all came from there. We know how it functions. We are also concerned for our districts. Magkaibang functions natin eh. But I will always cherish the years that I spent in the House of Representatives. Kailanman hindi naman natin sila inaaway, Mr. President. So with that, Mr. President, again, to our Majority Leader.
There's still two other members who just
Senator Pia
Cayetano.
Mr. President, with the indulgence of the Deputy Majority Floor Leader, meron ba siyang gustong ipahiwatig na may ibang grupo na imbis na trabaho ang pinag-uusapan, puro ibang bagay? You don't have to answer.
Wala naman po, kasi parang isang ano lang naman, parang isang grupo, isang barkada on light moments, pinag-uusapan natin kung ano yung mga bagay-bagay. Pero us, I'm proud, kahit nasa lounge tayo, di ba? Dapat light moments pero pinag-uusapan pa rin natin yung ating trabaho. And even yesterday, doon po sa farm ni Senator Villanueva, pinag-uusapan pa rin natin kung ano ang ating pwedeng gawin. And again, Mr. President, hindi naman dahil but I am very proud to have made this comeback in the Senate and serve under your leadership. And my majority leader, ako'y proud na proud bilang kanyang deputy. That's why I don't complain. Kahit na ako'y first in, last out dito sa Senado, I will always be here because I'm proud of what we are doing here in the Senate.
And also, I want to take note that without you, wala tayong Department of Housing, Senator JV, ha? And also for Senator Joel, yung ating napakaraming batas on higher education, training, DMW, yung Department of Migrant Workers is your baby, and many others that was adopted, by the way, by the House. Talagang trabaho para sa bayan, yung doktor para sa bayan, and also the work from home na bill natin na ginawa mong batas. So we'd like to recognize a distinguished colleague from Bohol and from Davao region, no other than Senator Bato de la Rosa, another fighter. Your honors.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I don't want to violate my self-declared ceasefire. Per your advice. But hindi ko palalampasin itong pagkakataon na ito. Hindi para tirahin yung ating mga kasamahan sa kabilang kapulungan. Kundi para magbigay ng suporta sa ating very passionate, very honest at ewan ko bakit siya ang paboritong tirahin personally ng mga kasamahan natin sa kabilang kapulungan. I would like to express my interest to be identified with the privileged speech delivered by our majority leader. Sabi ko nga sa kanya, Mr. President, kung ako man ay tutungtong sa boxing ring or sa wrestling ring at ako'y lalaban ng tag team, yung tag team na wrestling, Mr. President, wala ko ibang pipiliin talaga na katag team ko, si Majority Leader Senator Joel Villanueva.
Yan.
Dahil sa kanya prinsipyo, Mr. President, dahil sa aking paniniwala na siya ay talagang tao na malinis, siya ay tao na honest, siya ay tao na nagsasalita ng totoo at walang tinatago. Kung gusto niya ipaglaban yung institusyon, gusto niya ipaglaban ang konstitusyon, ipaglaban niya yung mga tao na naiisahan, ay talagang very passionate siya na ipaglaban, Mr. President. Kaya sana po, unsolicited advice to those who want to attack Senator Joel Villanueva, please attack him on the issues that we are tackling. Do not attack him personally. Because kung personal na atakan ito, you will be attacking the 23 senators are solidly behind Senator Joel Villanueva. So if you attack Senator Joel Villanueva, you are attacking the whole 24 senators, Mr. President. That's how we do it here in the Senate. And I would like to follow up on the statement of Senator Angara na dito po sa Senado, wala pong pass-breakan dito, Mr. President. Wala pong blind pass dito, Mr. President. Kung sa mag-schedule, walang doubt dito, Mr. President. Puro deliberate ang trabaho dito. Dinidribble ng mabuti ang bula, pinapasa ng mabuti, hinahanapan ng magandang pwesto kung sinong pwedeng mag-jump shot, Mr. President. Wala pong doubt dito. Kaya huwag sana tayo madaliin ang ating mga kasamahan sa pag-amend ng ating konstitusyon dahil sabi nga ni Senator Angara, we are not amending just a simple law, Mr. President. We are amending the very heart and soul of the nation, which is the Constitution. So sana pagbigyan naman nila tayo. Mabuti sana kung hindi tayo gumagalaw. Lunes na Lunes, first hour in the morning, si Senator Angara nag-hearing na sa kanyang subcommittee on constitutional amendments. Kaya huwag naman sana tayo, para naman tayong, I don't know how to describe the situation, Mr. President, but we are working, we are deliberating on it, pinag-usapan, pinagdebatihan, hindi po pass-break ang trabaho namin dito. Kaya po, we are not after of quantity, we are after of quality, Mr. President. Hindi po ito payabangan kung ilang batas ang napapasa ninyo. Pinapasa ninyo kung wala yung magkasamahan o ano ba, magpapalusot tayo. Hindi natin ginagawa yan dito. nirespeto natin ang isa't isa sa 24 na senador. Kung siya may oposisyon sa batas na pinapanday natin, pinapakinggan natin siya. At nirespeto natin yung kanyang punto. Kaya po, sabihin man yung mabagal, pero maganda ang kinalabasan dahil nga pinag-usapan ng gusto ang mga batas dito. Lalong-lalo na sa pag-aminda ng ating konstitusyon. Kaya, Mr. President, I just would like to assure our majority leader, wherever you go, I am with you, and I will support you, and I will fight for you till death. Thank you, Mr. President.
Maraming salamat, Senator Bato de la Rosa, the true fighter of the Senate. Maganda kung kasanggamos si Senator Bato de la Rosa.
So sa first presidential proclamation of amnesty covering the MILF 74 availed.
Yes.
Sa second one, itong proclamation number 1090, wala.
We didn't push through.
Wala.
It was
kasi
not. It was never implemented, Mr. President.
Kaya nga, and then these amnesty proclamations have very short lifespan. Ganun po ba yun?
Sir, Senator Jinggoy Estrada, the two gentlemen are recognized.
Again, Mr. President, if I may, before we resume the period of interpellations, I would like to acknowledge the presence of commissioners of the National Amnesty Commission, led by Chairperson Attorney Lea Tanod de la Armamento, Attorney Jamar Colayan, and Attorney Nasser Maruham Salik. We also have from the Commission, Attorney Gwendolyn Pimentel-Gana. They have been here since Wednesday last week during our sponsorship, and they have been with us all this week since Monday. And I would like to place on record and appreciate their dedication, their willingness to answer all queries and concerns about the amnesty program, and to personally witness, hopefully, the approval of all our committee reports. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yung MILF. Is the granting, if I may commence with the permission of our
Yes, of course.
sponsor. I know he has another commitment before one of the biggest leagues of LGUs, Mr. President. But
Which
we'll
I
make
was a
this-
former president, Mr. President.
We'll make, yes, congratulations, yes, because the San Juan was then a municipality.
Yes.
Yes, thank you. Mr. President, is the grant of the amnesty to former rebels or members of the MILF a part of our government's commitment found in a peace agreement?
Yes, Mr. President. The amnesty program under the MILF peace process is part of the commitment of the government under the comprehensive agreement on the Bangsamoro, with the common desire to end the armed conflict and sustain the peace and
Hindi, may comprehensive agreement. Hindi, turo mo. Hindi ko mababasa lahat.
Mr. President, the legal basis for the amnesty of the MILF members are found in the annex on normalization of the 2014 comprehensive agreement on the Bangsamoro, Mr. President. And according to my resource persons, I think the minority leader has also witnessed the signing of this annex, Mr. President.
Was that the one held in Kuala Lumpur, Mr. President?
Yes, Mr.
I
President.
was there, Mr. President.
January 2014.
That's a normalization. May we know for the record, Mr. President, who signed on behalf of the parties to the to that particular agreement which requires or commits the amnesty program, Mr. President?
Well, on the part of the government of the Philippines, it was Professor Miriam Coronel Ferrer, who is the chairman of the panel of the government of the Philippines. And in behalf of the MILF, it was Mohagher Iqbal, chairman of the MILF panel. And it was signed in the presence of Tengku Datu Abgafar Tengku Mohammed. He was the Malaysian facilitator, Mr. President.
Yes, Mr. President. I've met the Tengku Datu Abgafar Tengku Mohammed, a very amiable person, Mr. President. And I think he came here for the signing of the comprehensive agreement. Yes, unfortunately, we miss him and siguro we have just to express our thanks to the Malaysian facilitator for having been very effective, Mr. President. Was there a previous presidential proclamation on the same subject matter?
Wala.
Dito, MILF, meron, di ba?
There was a similar proclamation 1090 under the administration of President Duterte, Mr. President.
So,
Proclamation. Proclamation 1090 under the administration of President Duterte, and Proclamation number 390 during the presidency of the father of this representation, Mr. President.
So, what does that tell us, Mr. President, when we have multiple amnesty proclamations? Anong ibig sabihin nito na yung past two amnesty programs or proclamations were not successful, Mr. President?
Yeah, as I have mentioned during the last interpellation regarding the RBB, ABB, RB8, hindi po natuloy yung amnesty proclamation during the time of President Duterte. Also with the same reasons. Mr.
Same reason, okay.
Yes.
Okay. Pero how about the previous one, Mr. President?
During the time of my father,
Yes,
Mr. President. During the proclamation of amnesty number 390, during the time of my father, 74 were granted amnesty, Mr. President.
So sa first presidential proclamation of amnesty covering the MILF,
Yes.
74 availed.
Yes.
Sa second one, itong proclamation number 1090, wala.
It didn't push through.
Wala.
It was
kasi
not.
nga-
It was never implemented, Mr. President.
Kaya nga, and then these amnesty proclamations have very short lifespan. Ganun po ba yun?
During the administration of President Duterte, it took only 1 year, but this particular amnesty will take 2 years, Mr. President.
So kaya nga, we are learning from past experiences, Vale. We are now finding that the 1 year application period
It's too short.
proved to be too short in the
Yes.
past. Ganun, sa ginawa natin 2 years. Okay.
Correct, Mr. President.
So what is now the rationale? Why did we limit it to 2? Bakit hindi 3 years? Critical ba yun? Is that a critical feature of
I think
an
that is
amnesty
the
program?
most ideal time frame, Mr. President.
So yes, okay. So may ano naman yan, ano, there's nothing we can do about it, no, kasi that's in the
Yes, that is
presidential
in the
proclamation, no? So we
presidential
either we
proclamation.
concur or not concur. So how many are we expecting to who will avail of this latest presidential proclamation or amnesty program, Mr. President?
Mr. President, a number of approximately 1,500 MILF members are projected to apply for amnesty, while an initial of 400 MILF members with pending cases have been submitted by the MILF to the Philippine Government Implementing Panel, which shall be applying for amnesty, Mr. President.
Okay, so konkreto.
However, Mr. President,
yes.
it is noted that in the release statement of the implementing chair of the MILF, Minister Iqbal, on the recently issued proclamation of 5 series of 2023, that thousands of MILF is expected to apply for amnesty, comprised of, how do you pronounce this? Mujahideen?
Mujahideen.
Huh? Mujahideen. And the commissioned combatants and members and supporters of the MILF, Mr. President.
Okay, so konkretong programa po ito at talagang nakikita na natin even yung bilang ng mga magbe-benepisyo or mag-a-avail ng programa. So, meron po bang, tulad ng tanong ko doon sa unang grupo po na binigyan ng amnesty, meron po ba tayong socio-economic and financial assistance programs for our amnesty or surrendered MILF members, Mr. President?
Meron din po, Mr. President. The availment of amnesty itself is the benefit that will be received by the MILF members. The annex on normalization already provides that a socio-economic program will be undertaken to address the needs of the MILF decommissioned combatants, their families, and communities. And this will be, Mr. President, this will be subject to an in-depth profiling and needs assessment, Mr. President. And the MILF member will have to avail of these socioeconomic benefits through the task force for decommissioned combatants and their communities, Mr. President. And the TFDCC, the task force for decommissioned combatants and their communities, has socioeconomic programs enclosed within 4 categories, namely social protection, capacity development, livelihood and employment, and community-based infrastructure, Mr. President. If I can show you this chart, if I can submit it to you, Mr. President.
Yes, Mr. President, if you have a spare copy, Mr. President. So, Mr. President, thank you for the inputs from our sponsor, and thank you for using the correct term, Mr. President. I think the correct term to use to refer to our MILF brothers and sisters would be decommissioned combatants.
Yes.
Yes, Mr. President. So, Mr. President, this is part of the comprehensive agreement on the Bangsamoro. Pagkakaintindi ko mga merong main agreement and then so-called annexes. Then the government has to comply with its commitments before an exit agreement is to be executed. So, is this, ito pinag-usapan natin na amnesty program, that critical, that without this, there will be no, there can be no exit agreement?
Yes, Mr. President, you're totally correct, Mr. President.
Ang commitment po yata natin ay 2022, meron ng amnesty program. So, is the other side not, is the MILF side not complaining that we are already delayed, Mr. President? Or in delay?
The MILF is quite aware that we are delayed, Mr. President.
Sige, but ano naman, basta we have a very understanding partner, Mr. President. So, we are thankful for that. So kung ganoon, that means we have established na this is a program which is part of our commitments, government commitments to the MILF. There's a timeline. We are siguro a little bit delayed, so we have to do this with dispatch, Mr. President, as soon as possible. The beneficiaries or the potential applicants are already
In place.
more or less identified and ready to avail of the benefits, Mr. President. There are already socio-economic programs for them. Anyway, separate, which is
Yes.
separate from this
Yes.
amnesty
Yes,
program,
Mr.
Mr. President. And ongoing na. I'm sure ongoing na. Oh, so, ibang usapan na yung yung kung meron mang complaints din doon po. Sige. So in that case, Mr. President, I think we have already established the need for this program, and
Thank you very much, Mr. President.
I see no reason why we should not give our concurrence as required by the Constitution to have a valid amnesty program, Mr. President. So let me again thank our sponsor for his patience, the time he has given us, and for sponsoring this very critical measure, Mr. President. And I hope, siguro request na lang po tayo ng periodic briefing from the OPAPRU on the
Yes,
status of
the
the different
represent-
agreements, kasi meron ang one main agreement pero mga annexes, and the annexes are treated as if they are also main agreements. Or di ba, separate main agreements din. So maka-monitor po tayo, so we will find out.
The representatives from the OPAPRO are listening, Mr. President.
Kung pwede mag-request, if they can approach the siguro to brief the entire Senate, or kung mas madali, individually.
Yes, if the need arises, Mr. President.
We will basically be asking the same questions this time to apply to the amnesty proclamation covering the MNLF, Mr. President. Is the grant of amnesty to the commissioned combatants of the MNLF also part of a commitment by the government pursuant to a peace agreement?
Yes, Mr. President. The amnesty program under the MNLF peace process is part of the commitment of the government pursuant to the 1996 final peace agreement, Mr. President. This commitment serves as a part of the full implementation of the 1976 Tripoli Agreement between the government of the Philippines and the MNLF, particularly item 12A, third paragraph, which provides for complete amnesty in the areas of autonomy and renunciation of all legal claims resulting from the rebellion that took place in the southern Philippines. Section 153, item 3F of the 1996 final agreement carried over the amnesty provision under the 1976 Tripoli Agreement, Mr. President.
So in effect, we are implementing the 1996 final peace agreement. This is already an old document, Mr. President. Ano ba status nito? How come it's 2024 and we're still implementing this?
Well, again, as I've mentioned earlier, Mr. President, it is a part of the commitment of the government pursuant to that particular agreement in 1996, Mr. President.
Have we tried in the past to comply with the grant of amnesty to MNLF members, Mr. President?
Well, you were asking about the previous proclamation amnesty, Mr. President?
Yes, for
All right.
MNLF, if there are, Mr. President.
Yes, there are three. All right. Four, Mr. President. Proclamation 347, done in 1994. There were 136 that were granted amnesty. Proclamation 724, 1996. There were 51 who were granted amnesty. And Proclamation 21, also 1996. 307 were granted amnesty. And Proclamation 1091 during the Duterte administration, but it was never implemented, Mr. President.
So kung nakikita po natin, so we keep on opening the amnesty program, Mr. President. So learning from past practice, sa anong pagkukulang natin? Are we providing too short a period of time for the application, Mr. President? Masama po ba or not advisable na ipahaba yung application period, Mr. President?
Yes, Mr. President. Under Proclamation 347 and the subsequent proclamations 724 and Proclamation 19. Under Proclamation number 347, 6 months lang po. And then under Proclamation 724, 90 days. And under Proclamation 1998, during the time of my father,
Proclamation 21.
Proclamation 21, 6 months. So I think it was
Can we
short.
be educated, Mr. President, by the resource person? Bakit ba napaka-ikli ng mga application periods? Tapos napakita naman na kulang yung time and then another amnesty program, iniiklian nyo pa rin. Why? Can somebody educate us, Mr. President?
Well, according to our resource persons, that is the decision of the President. Hanggat hindi pa siguro nakukuha yung mga number of rebels or combatants na nag-avail ng amnesty, ni-extend.
Okay. So, okay, at least ang new feature nitong ating inaaprubahan na presidential proclamation, 2 years na. Okay,
Yes,
so
2 years na. I think that is the most ideal number of years for them to avail of the amnesty, Mr. President.
And, nasabi na po ba natin yung projected number of MNLF
Hindi pa. Not yet, Mr.
members na ina-anticipate po natin who can possibly or who might avail of this program?
Just like the MILF, Mr. President, 2,000 MNLF members applying for amnesty is their projection, Mr. President. The final number of applicants shall be submitted by the MNLF groups through the peace mechanisms, Mr. President. So a little bit higher than MILF. Kasi MILF around 1,500 lang, as I mentioned earlier. Ito 2,000. a little bit higher.
May we know, Mr. President, just for the record, who signed on behalf of the parties to the final 1996 final peace agreement?
On the part of the government of the Republic of the Philippines, it was Ambassador Manuel Yan, who was the chairman of the peace panel of our government. And on the part of the MNLF, it was Professor Nur Miswari, who is the head of the MNLF panel. And with the participation of the OIC Ministerial Committee of the Six and the Secretary General of the OIC. It was His Excellency Mr. Ali Alatas, Minister for Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Indonesia, and the Secretary General of the IOC, His Excellency Dr. Hamid Al-Gabit, Mr. President.
And then are there also socioeconomic and financial assistance programs for the members of the MNLF, Mr. President?
Yes,
Pursuant to this peace agreement or any any additional agreement?
Definitely, they will also avail of the socioeconomic programs for MNLF individuals and communities. These are the initial socioeconomic programs for individuals, and additional programs will be implemented based on a needs assessment to ensure long-time sustainability. The following are the socioeconomic projects for the community where NMLF are presently located, Mr. President. Sensya na, medyo maliit kasi, hindi ka na mabasa. Yung salamin ko. Okay, Mr. President, there will be socioeconomic programs for MNLF amnesty grantees enrolled under MNLF transformation program. The transformation program is composed of socioeconomic, security, confidence building, and community healing and reconciliation components, which altogether aim for the holistic transformation of the MNLF former combatants in order to facilitate their reintegration into mainstream society. Likewise, the transformation program caters to the families and communities of the MNLF former combatants in order to sustain the holistic and meaningful transition of the beneficiaries from armed combatants to productive civilians. I also am in hold of the chart if
Yes, Mr. President, if you can share it. So, Mr. President, ito bang 1996 final peace agreement with the MNLF, just like the 2014 comprehensive agreement on the Bangsamoro, should also result in an exit agreement?
under the proclamation. Under the final peace agreement, there is no provision for any exit agreement, Mr. President.
Thank you for that answer, Mr. President, kasi it got me worried kasi ano na yun, that's already 28 years ago, Mr. President. So, Mr. President, ito na lang po, which is a question applicable to all of the amnesty measures we are tackling. What if there is a person who feels that the person granted an amnesty is not deserving or not qualified to be given the amnesty? What are the remedies available to this individual, Mr. President? Is it possible to first of all question the coverage of a person under the amnesty program, the grant of amnesty? Pwede po bang i-question yan ng individuals? Kasi marami pong mga technicalities yung ating amnesty program. May mga crimes covered, crimes not covered, may application period, merong whether you are an active member pa, na surrendered member. So, yun lang po yung tanong ko. Let us say someone feels that, someone granted an amnesty,
Yeah, Mr.
He's
President.
not qualified, so can that be questioned, Mr. President?
There is an opportunity to file an opposition, Mr. President, during the local amnesty board hearing.
Okay. But that's before the grant.
Yes, Mr. President.
Yes. But can the grant itself be questioned, Mr. President?
Very good. Mr. President, the supposed procedure is that the decision of the Office of the President on the grant or denial of amnesty may be appealed to the Court of Appeals within 60 days upon receipt.
It's there. It's in the amnesty proclamation. Well, where is that remedy found, Mr. President?
The draft. Well, it's found in the draft rules of procedure, Mr. President. The draft rules of procedure
Draft rules of procedure of what body, Mr. President?
of the National Amnesty Commission, Mr. President.
Oh, so you better act on the rules and issue formally the rules, Mr. President. Kasi I just wanted it spread into the records kasi of course merong pag may crime, there's a potential aggrieved family. Diba? Family of the victim. So what if ang feeling niya hindi karapat-dapat? So dapat may mga remedies din po siya.
Yeah. Well, Mr. President, under the rules of court, as I mentioned earlier, the decision of the Office of the President can be appealable to the Court of Appeals, Mr. President, within 60 days.
What rules of court is that, Mr. President? Karango lang ni Office of the President ng CA? Mr. President?
Under Rule 65, by certiorari, Mr. President. I'm not a lawyer. But,
Okay, so Rule 65. Depende rin if you can matapos IRA. Maybe you can even go to the Supreme Court kung gano'n. Anyway, so there is no, you're just using Rule 65, grave abuse of discretion. Yun lang. Okay, so I think the rules, if the NAC is still drafting the rules, please look at this angle where a concerned individual who believes that the person availing of the amnesty and being granted the amnesty is not deserving for various reasons. Maraming possible reasons na hindi ka dapat makakuha ng amnesty. Meron po dapat klarong remedy on where that person should be. Baka may factual kasi rito, baka RTC pa nga dapat mag-start yan eh. Kasi may factual eh. May what crime did he commit? Meron dito bumagsak dito sa excluded crimes or crimes which cannot be granted amnesty. Just take a look at that angle, Mr. President, and make
Yes, Mr.
sure
President,
na
we will look into that matter, Mr. President. And I will inform the members of the National Amnesty Commission who are present here today, including your sister, Mr. President.
I think my sister is not a member of the NAC.
Yes, sir.
She's just very close to the chairperson, Mr. President. So, here for moral support. But at any rate, para klaruhin po natin, it's like a treaty, no? We cannot touch the presidential proclamation, Mr. President. No? We cannot amend we cannot amend the wording of the presidential proclamation declaring the amnesty program. What is pending before us is do we concur or not with the para klaro po yun, hindi naman yung mga 2 years hindi natin magagalaw yun, yung mga crimes covered hindi natin magagalaw yun. So the question before us, do we concur or not with the presidential proclamation before us?
You're correct,
Is that
Mr.
correct?
President. Yes, you're totally correct, Mr.
So with
President.
that clarification, Mr. President, and at any rate, nalagay na rin sa records yun at that need for a clear remedy for people who will claim to be aggrieved persons because due to the crime committed by the person applying, Mr. President. Basta ma-address na po yan, I think the system will be more fair for everyone involved. So with that, Mr. President, I thank again our sponsor. Thank you for his insights, for his very clear responses to our questions, Mr. President. And congratulations again for acting expeditiously on this very important and time-bound measures, Mr. President.
Opo. Ito pong Ginoong Pangulo, sa loob po ng registered motor vehicles na 1.4 million.
Opo.
132 lang po ba? Tama po ba? Ang involved sa crimes? Parang
Opo, 132 ang involved.
ay
Meron po
ito
kasi,
po ang sapat.
Meron
Sapat
po
na
kasi-
dahilan po ito para baguhin natin.
yes.
Baguhin natin ang doble plakado o ang RA 11235.
Opo, Mr. President. Meron po kasi yung datos dito, yung motorsiklo ay na-involve sa crime. Meron po kasi mga motorsiklo na ninakaw. Meron po mga motorsiklo na hiniram na hindi na sinuli.
Yung direct participation po na riding in tandem,
Yes, right
ilan lang po?
tandem ay 57 lang po, Mr. President.
57?
Opo, 50.
Sa 1 million, 1.4 million, 57 lang ang na-involve,
Opo.
pero nagkaroon po tayo ng mapaniil na batas.
Yun na nga po.
Naku.
Body, I move to open the period of interpellation and recognize the sponsor, Senator Francis Tolentino, interpellate Senator Robin Hood Padilla. I so move, Mr. President.
There have been objection to the motion. The distinguished sponsor, Senator Francis Tolentino, and the interpellator, our distinguished colleague, Senator Robin Hood Padilla, is recognized.
Ready, Mr. President?
Maraming salamat po, Ginoong Pangulo at sa ating pinunong mayorya. Kung mamarapatin po ng ating hinahangaan at magaling na senador, Francis Tolentino, ako lamang po ay may mga katanungan patungkol po sa kanyang panukala. Kung ito po ay mamarapatin ng ating kaibigan.
Yes, Mr. President, willingly. At tayo po handang sumagot sa ating ginagalang na Senador buhat sa Nueva Ecija and Bicol, the Bicol region, Mr. President.
Maraming salamat po. Ito po kasing issue na ito na patungkol po sa doble plakalo. Ito po ay nagkaroon ng usap-usapan sa mga riders, sa mga katulad po natin na nagmumotor. Sapagkat ito po ay para sa kanila, para sa amin, ay naging mapaniil ang batas na ito. Tinanong po natin ang mga gumuhit ng batas na ito at ang kanila pong sinasagot sa atin, kailangan daw po ang batas na ito upang mapigilan.
The patrol group would show, and I have records to show, Mr. President, riding in tandem, allegedly. Yung ni naka-back ride, 134, tapos out of 132 pala, ang gumamit ng motor, yung sa riding in tandem na na-involved ay 57 lang na motor out of the universe of 1.4 plus million, Mr. President. So, napaka-minuscule. Hindi ko mas magaling po yung minority leader sa computation kung ilang percent ito. So, Mr. President, ito po yung naging dahilan ng panawagan ng mga riders na bakit sila sinisingle out, bakit sila pinoprofile at ginawang napaka-discriminatory ng batas. In fact, Mr. President, ang dami nag-file ng case sa iba't ibang mga regional trial courts dito sa Metro Manila, questioning the constitutionality of Republic Act 11235. So, out of 1.4 million, 57 lang, Mr. President, ang involved. At napakababa po nun, Mr. President. Sana po na maunawaan ng ating kaibigan sa Nueva Ecija na hindi po totoo na ang atin po mga riders ay kriminal. Hindi po totoo, Mr. President, na yung pag-single out sa kanila bilang potential criminals ay makakadeter sa pag-resolba ng mga krimen. Marami po mga riders tayo, Mr. President, mag-asawa, ihahatid sa trabaho. Yung babae, nagdadrive yung lalaki. Minsan po ay yung anak ihahatid sa high school kasi pasukan pa ho ngayon, minsan mamamalengke. Hindi naman po sila kriminal, Mr. President. Marami ho ihahatid yung asawa pagkatapos magdi-deliver pa ng mga kasama po sila sa online delivery, mga disente po naghahanap buhay ng mga kababayan natin Pilipino. Pero hindi po dapat natin silang ituring na kriminal. Mr. President, ito po ay marami pa ho na aksidente. Kung makikita nyo kahit madaling araw dahil po sa kakulangan natin sa effective or efficient means of transportation, they resorted to buying motorcycles. Hindi po sila kriminal, Mr. President. So, ito pong datos nito ay magpapatunay na napakababang bahagdan ang naging riding in tandem buhat po sa datos galing po sa Philippine National Police, Mr. President.
Oo nga. Opo. Ito pong Ginoong Pangulo, sa loob po ng registered motor vehicles na 1.4 million,
Opo.
132 lang po ba? Tama po ba? Ang involved sa crimes? Parang...
Opo, 132 ang involved sa crime. At yung pong gumamit ng motorsiklo na kriminal ay 57 lang po, Mr. President.
Bali po, ang sinasabi niyo po, Ginoong Pangulo, ay
Meron po
ito
kasi...
po ang sapat,
Opo, meron
sapat
po
na
kasi-
dahilan po ito para baguhin natin.
Yes.
Baguhin natin ang doble plakado o ang RA 11235.
Opo, Mr. President. Meron po kasi yung datos dito, yung motorsiklo ay na-involve sa crime. Meron po kasi mga motorsiklo na ninakaw. Meron po mga motorsiklo na hiniram na hindi na sinuli.
Yung direct participation po na riding in tandem,
Yes, right,
ilan lang po?
tandem ay 57 lang po, Mr. President.
57?
Opo, 50.
Sa 1 million, 1.4 million, 57 lang ang na-involve,
Opo.
pero nagkaroon po tayo ng mapaniil na batas.
Yun na nga po.
Naku.
Kaya nga po ang hinagpis ng ating mga rider ay mabago yung batas dahil ito po ay mapaniil sa kanila and they were profiled, they were discriminated upon, and it resulted into several cases. And Mr. President, idagdag ko rin na dahil po dito, ang Land Transportation Office ay sinuspend yung implementation ng batas na ito, yung IRR ng batas na ito dahil wala naman po silang plaka maibigay din.
Ibig niyo pong sabihin, yung po bang issue noon na may backlog sa plaka, hanggang ngayon po ba meron ding problema yan sa mga motorsiklo?
Yes, Mr. President, the records would show na millions po yung backlog, Mr. President, ng plaka. Ang backlog po as of last week, February 29, 2024 is 10,530,580. I repeat.
Ilan po doon, Mr. President, ang motorsiklo? Diyan po sa 10 million.
Lahat po yun motorsiklo.
Lahat po yung motorsiklo.
10 million plates po ito. 10,530,580 plaka.
With the indulgence of the sponsor,
So,
may
Senator,
recognize.
should also recognize.
Yes, I'd like to confirm that the current backlog of motorcycle plates currently is about 10.4 million as mentioned by the sponsor, and motor vehicle plates is about 2 million. So yan po ang backlog ngayon at present, and that's why, Mr. President, one of the reasons that I authored this measure, I think it is more important for crime prevention that all motorcycles will be given their plate numbers already. Ang problema nga ngayon ay yung 10 million na po ang backlog at pataas taon-taon, kung dodoblehin pa natin, mas tatagal pa before we can give all motorcycles plate numbers. At sa tingin ko, when we talk about crime prevention, it is more important to have identities or plate numbers for all motorcycles kasi wala naman sigurong gagamit ng sariling motor sa krimen. So that is one of the rationale why we want this amendment, because we want to have most of the motorcycles their plate numbers already. Kasi nga kung dodoble pa natin, mas tatagal pa. Thank you, Mr. President.
I definitely agree with the main author of this measure, a rider himself, na inambisyon natin yung dalawa, hindi nga natin maibigay yung isang plaka.
Opo. Mahal na Pangulo, gusto ko lamang pong linawin. 1.4 million yung registered. At meron tayong 10 million plus na unregistered. So lumalabas po yun, kung tama po halos sumobra po ng 11 million ang motor. Tama po ba, Mr. President?
I'm also as confused as the gentleman from Nueva Ecija. Ang unregistered po na motor sa aking datos po simula nung 1981 hanggang 2024, at kung ima-minus po yung registered nitong from 2023 to 2024 ay lumalabas na 21,500,000. Ganong kalaki po, Mr. President, ang hindi rehistradong motorsiklo sa aking datos po, Mr. President. And this can be corrected by marami kasi, Mr. President, na nag-register nung una pero eventually nung pandemic hindi na rin nag-register. So lumobo po talaga yun, Mr. President. Yung iba naman hindi na nagrehistro kasi isa po sa dahilan ay yung napakagulo na ho ng proseso. Ilan ba talaga ang plaka? Isa o dalawa? So nawalan din po dito ang gobyerno ng revenue kasi hindi na rehistro yung marami. Plus, it is more attractive for criminals. Mas lalo pong naging mitsa ng mga criminally minded kasi yung kasabay nila sa kalye, walang plaka, wala na rin silang plaka. So how can law enforcers themselves really monitor what's going on in our busy thoroughfares, Mr. President?
Mahal na Pangulo, meron lang po akong tanong. Kung ganito po yung nagiging suliranin patungkol sa registered, unregistered, may plaka, may backlog, ano po ba ang status ng doble plaka law ngayon? Ano pong status nitong law na ito? Kung ganito?
Thank you, Mr. President. As I have mentioned, since July 1, 2020, the Land Transportation Office issued a memorandum deferring the implementation of this law. But the postponement of the implementation would not necessarily mean that the Land Transportation Office would stick to the original one plate policy. So, nakapending lang po yun kasi nga, hindi rin sila makaprovide ng plaka. Kaya hinold na nila yung implementation noong Republic Act 11235, which is administratively hard for them to implement because they cannot cope up with the demand coming from motorcycles to be registered. So, ini-stop na muna nila. So, hindi rin na-implement po itong doble plaka.
Opo, kasi mahal na Pangulo, kung meron tayong batas na hindi naman ma-implement, dapat po siguro talagang baguhin. Para saan pa yan?
Opo, I totally agree. Kasi hindi na natin kayang, ulitin ko po, hindi na natin mabigyan ng plaka yung isa, yung dalawa pa.
Opo.
At saka po, Mr. President, kahit hindi nyo pa, alam ko naman, rider po kayo, yung motorsiklo po, hindi naman designed to have a plate number in front. Wala hong lagayan doon kasi parang sa pinaka-fork po ng motorsiklo, ay meron lang pong bar at nandun yung headlight sa harap. At hindi ko alam kung saan ikakabit po doon yung plaka. Kasi shock absorber na ho yun nasa harapan.
Opo. Meron din po bang issue ang ating mga riders patungkol po doon sa safety ng riders po? Meron din po bang issue dyan patungkol po doon sa full force wind blast? Siyempre, tumatama sa mukha mo yan di ba?
Tama po, Mr. President. Kayo po, Your Honor, bilang isang rider din, hindi naman siguro kayo papayag na yung isang plaka na halos kasi laki na nitong bond paper na ito, nando sa harap ninyo na baka pag lumuwag yung tornilyo, lipa rin na tumama pa sa inyong harapan o baka tumama sa inyong leeg na maingay po. It will aerodynamically, it might not be suited for a rider aware that something might happen, baka lumipad o baka makatama sa iba. So, para po sa kanila, parang delikado daw po yung plaka sa harapan, baka bigla na lang lumipad.
Opo, mahal na Pangulo, sa katotohanan po, ako po ay isa sa mga rider na umaasa na magkaroon ng pagbabago sa batas na ito sapagkat hindi po ito talaga nakatulong sa anumang usapin. Kaya kung ito po ang sinasabi mismo ng LTO na hindi nila ma-implement, siguro po, mahal na Pangulo, siguro po talagang dapat nang baguhin ang doble plaka law. Yun lamang po ang aking mga katanungan bilang isang rider. Maraming salamat po, Ginoong Pangulo.
Maraming salamat po, Your Honor, at napakahalaga po ng inyong mga tanong. At ito po bilang isang rider ay nagpapatotoo na napakahirap pong ipatupad ang isang batas na hindi talaga kayang ipatupad. So dito po sa aspetong ito ay naniniwala po ako na kailangan talagang amyandahan yung batas, Mr. President. Maraming salamat po, Your Honor.
Yes. Thank you very much, distinguished colleagues.
Mr. President, I move that we suspend consideration of Senate Bill number 2555. I so move, sir.
I just want to ask Senator Tolentino. Senator Tolentino, is that good gentleman a rider?
Yes, Mr. President.
Motorcycle or bicycle?
Yes, both, Mr. President.
Oh.
I used to ride a Moto Guzzi before. I had an accident involving a Virago before. I used to ride old school po tayo, Honda Steed before. So, Mr. President,
Alam ko, you are you like vintage bicycles. Dapat yung unicycle, yung malaking goma sa harap, maliit na sa likod.
A Moto Guzzi, Mr. President, a Moto Guzzi is a vintage big bike, Mr. President.
Bagay sa yun.
It was used by the Mussolini forces during World War II.
Oh, wow.
Yung Moto Guzzi po.
All right. Thank you very much for that information,
Mr. President.
Yes, Senator Bongo.
With the indulgence of this good sponsor, I agree with the proposed measure. At nakita ko kanina, 57 po yung
There's a motion I didn't act.
naiulat na
yung crime related, no? Sa totoo lang, I agree with that, no? Na ang criminal naman ay intentionally hindi naglalagay ng plaka. Hindi tayo dapat maging discriminatory sa mga motorcycle riders at wag natin silang pahirapan pa. Imbis na makatulong pa sana yun sa batas, no. Naging pahirap pa ito sa ating mga riders at marami po akong narinig na mga hinaing diyan, no? I agree with Senator JB Ejercito. Dapat mag-focus na lang tayo sa maayos na registration. Having said that, Mr. President, may I request to be recorded as co-author of this proposed measure. At another question lang po sana. How about the three-wheel? Yung three-wheel, kasama siya rito sa ibabalik sa one ano na lang.
Kasama po,
one plate.
Mr. President, that is a variant of the original motorcycle, yung two-wheel. So, magiging isa na rin po sa likod. But,
So, regardless of three-wheel, di ba? Kasi may three-wheel na isang gulong, dalawa sa likod.
yes.
So, isang plaka na lang saan ilagay?
Sa likod po, Mr.
Sa likod.
President.
Paano yung dalawang gulong sa harapan, yung Can-Am, isang gulong sa likod?
Sa likod din po, Mr. President.
Kahit na baliktad yung gulong niya.
Opo, Mr. President. I used to have Mr. President, I know what the good gentleman from Davao is referring to. I used to have a three-wheel likewise. Parang dalawa po sa harap, isa sa likod. It's called Piaggio. It's an Italian big bike na sinasabi po ni the gentleman from Davao is a Can-Am. Para
Can-Am.
pong nakaupo na lang yon.
Parang kotse na kasi po siya yung specs niya, Mr. President. Parang kotse na yun. Pag iharurot mo, para ng kotse yung takbo niya eh. Dalawang malaking gulong sa harapan, isa sa likod. Ito yung Can-Am.
Opo.
Ang makina niya, around 1,300 po yata, no? Laking makina rin, parang kotse na rin. So, isang plaka lang siya.
Isang plaka rin po.
Sa likod.
Sa likod po.
So, kung sa harapan naman yung three-wheel, katulad ng mga Harley Davidson, isang gulong sa harapan, dalawa sa likod.
Sa likod din
pa rin.
Mr. President.
Okay, cleared po.
Salamat po, Mr. President. We're more than willing to have the good gentleman from Davao as a co-sponsor of this measure, Mr. President.
Thank you, and we'd like to recognize once again Senator Robin Hood Padilla.
Opo, mahal na Ginoong Pangulo. Meron lang pong phone-in question ang ating mga riders. Pagka ito daw pong batas ay nabago, yun daw po bang pinag-iinitan sila ng checkpoint lagi ay mababago na rin? Kasi yun daw po ang kanilang isang hinaing din. Lagi daw po silang biktima ng checkpoint. At yung mga checkpoint daw po, madalas, ay ang tinatanong yung tungkol dyan sa plaka. Opo.
Definitely, Mr. President. The principal sponsor, the rider himself, Senator Ejercito would like to do
Yes,
that.
Mr. President, if I may answer that. In this amendment to the Motorcycle Crime Prevention Act, we introduced the use of RFID in front of every motorcycle. In fact, the LTO is already implementing this, that the RFID contains